I call the Lancaster County Board of Supervisors for Thursday, November 17, 2022, meeting to order. Let us stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. We get ready to open up our public input session. You can talk about anything that you want to talk about that is not presently on the agenda. And you have 3 minutes. At the end of 2 minutes, I will hold this up to let you know that you have a 1 minute, this is a 1 minute warning, let you know that you have 1 minute remaining. Floor is now open for public input. Anyone wants to say that? Yes, sir. Come forward, state your name, state your district.
Hi, I'm Rick Wineland, and I just wanted to congratulate the board on getting a new boat ramp for Carter Creek. I think that is a wonderful thing, especially the kayak ramp, and I hope that the board will consider making that area for these kayaks a no-wait zone. Thank you.
Thank you. Is that mic on?
It's on.
It's on. Okay. Anyone else? If not, anyone online? No, sir. All right. Public input session is closed. Let's see. Mr. Bryant? Virginia Department of Transportation.
How y'all doing?
Good.
I feel like I was just here.
You were 3 weeks ago.
Don't have a whole lot to report. We did get all the snow equipment inspected. Everything's ready to go. And as far as I know, all the contractors we've had in the past are on board and ready to go. So we should be straight to do like we've been doing in the past. And all the paving schedules are complete as far as I know. Y'all got anything for me?
Any questions? Yes,
I
sir.
have a couple of things. It's been some concern about with the deputies out there along Route 3 where the primary school turn is, about getting some potential school flasher lights with speed reduction along that section of Route 3. It's really unsafe for the deputies, the traffic going 55 miles an hour through there during the school's time when they're trying to direct traffic down onto that road. There were some parents today that almost had an accident running in the back of some people trying to turn there. So if we could look into that possibility.
Yeah, as far as I know, we would need a request from the board to do a traffic study, and I think that would be up to the school system to put those signs up.
Okay. Can we look into it and see what exactly needs to do and get back to us, because it seems to be a rather safety issue. We
Okay.
don't want one of our deputies killed or run over while they're out there directing traffic as people are zipping by there. The other thing, can we go ahead and start to work on or think about the winter or late spring cleanup and getting that at least thought about, or potentially scheduling that when the time needs to be so it can occur in the
Okay,
time
so
that it would normally do in March, I guess is when they did it last year.
Yeah, I think it was around the first part of March, wasn't it?
end of February, 1st of March. So y'all want to try to do that again like we did last year?
Yeah, I think we want to make sure that's an ongoing thing, but I'm sure
That ought to be an annual thing. Just
Okay,
whenever your scheduling needs to, where that occurred, just get it worked on so it can happen.
okay. I'll go on and get that in the works so that they'll know.
That's all I have.
Okay. Any other questions, gentlemen?
Can you put that in a motion so it's in the minutes that you all decided to do that?
Yeah.
For the
For the cleanup that we pay for in early spring?
yeah, I move that we direct VDOT to work with us to do the spring roadside cleanup on all highways in Lancaster County,
With the county paying for it?
with the county paying for it.
Yeah.
You've heard the motion. Any questions? Are you ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous vote. Okay.
All right. And I just got to coordinate with Dominion, but we should be good to go on those trees.
Okay.
And congratulations, I heard on the radio this morning that you're on the state.
VACO president.
Yep. Thank you.
Does anybody else got anything?
Does VDOT need direction from us on the light study? Is that what we need to do?
You will need to if, yes, that's probably a good idea. I mean, I don't know that we know the exact process right now, but why don't you all put that in the form of a
Should
motion
we go
too?
ahead and vote on that now?
Yeah, I
just to
think so,
make the
yeah.
motion works in case we
I,
want,
I think so. I
in case
think
that
so.
is the process that
Yeah.
has to happen.
And
Well, I
what-
move that we conduct a school safety speed light evaluation along Route 3, where the intersection of Route 3 and
Devil's
Devil's
Bottom.
Bottom Road
Yeah.
for the primary school.
Are we doing the study or is VDOT?
No, VDOT does it. They do it at the board's request, so
Okay,
you
so
all are officially
We're
taking a vote
requesting
to
a
request
study.
that.
Okay.
I mean, eventually it will be a moot point once we close that building, but we don't
Yeah.
want an accident to occur there in the meantime.
Yeah.
And, you know, especially this time of morning, the sun's
The
ready to
sun
rise.
shines
Yeah.
right down, it's really hard to see you, and you're coming there, and people are basically doing 55, 60 coming off the dual lanes.
Yeah.
All right, any further questions before we vote? Or comments? All right, you've heard the question, you ready to vote? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay? All right, ayes have it.
All right,
Okay. Thank you, sir.
all right, thank you.
Presentations, Broadband Authority update, Dr. Silverman. Dr. Silverman.
So this may be the last time you see me in shorts.
Yeah.
I'm moving to Squamish, which is a lot colder than here, or Stockholm. So this will be my last time in front of the board. I want to thank the board for being supportive. I really feel like this project had a lot of twists and turns. Not only did I start in April of 2014, but I have been working just for Moratico the 3 years before, and that effort failed. So it's been 7 years of broadband, so I'm filled up. But anyway, I'm encouraged just to let you know where things are right now. We have two major projects going on. One is from a VATI proposal in 2020, which is Breeze Line. And they are moving very quickly. They're near the construction. It's, I forgot the exact number of homes, but it's around 200 homes that will be hooked up on that project, all predominantly in the eastern part of the county. And you certainly have read through the things. I don't want to bore you with the details on that. The other one, I'm sure everybody has seen up and down Route 3 and in parts, you know, penetrating down on Mary Point Road, a few of the other roads. That is Dominion putting in 110 miles, approximately 110 miles of fiber, which is known as the middle mile. And then All Points Broadband is going to be leasing 60 of the fibers on the main chutes and less in other areas. And they will provide at least 2,641 new hookups, which is by far the biggest campaign to people who never had any access. So to me, that's exciting. We expect APB really to be in our area Q1, roughly, starting to hook up. When they'll go live, it's probably about 4 or 5 months after that, and then they're supposed to be completed by January 2024. So it's exciting. Breeze Line will be done by the end of this year. So that's why you see that much further along. And that grant is supported by many things on this Dominion/APB project. It's supported by a VATI 2021. So our county got 2 VATI grants in a row, which is impressive in itself. That's the Virginia telecommunication grants. It's also supported by the Dominion pilot plant. Now they're out of that phase, and it's been accepted as regular project, but it's supported by that project too. That's why Dominion's doing the middle mile, because they get to raise their rates. So, you know, they essentially recover their costs. I don't know what over a certain amount of period of time. There was one hiccup we ran into. If you're I believe this is your district, Jason, out on Windjammer Road. There's like a little island past the public and the launch area. There was a problem. No one had where the sewer was buried. So Breezeline was not going to take a risk jeopardizing the Chesapeake Bay of hitting that. But they worked out who's going to pay for what and whatnot and get it marked. So it'll get to those condos and those few homes that are further out on that one area. So that'll happen before they said November 18th. But anyway. The other group that we've been working with is a wireless company, BTS. I think most of you are familiar. They have gotten almost all of the CARES grant fixed wireless units up to the homes. They're at 270. 300 was our target. They're still adding more, but the good news is 270 people who never had internet now have it in our county. It is going to be fixed wireless, but when I talk to some of the people, they're amazed at how good it is, and some will contemplate having that service since it's going to be cheaper relative to the APB or Breezeline. But they've been very happy with the service. The other CARES grant that we had was with the smart poles. It was an idea of internet on the go for people who couldn't afford it or just have no access where they are. In general, we always had about 4 of the poles always working wonderfully, okay? And that would be the one right by the courthouse here. And matter of fact, you can go there and it's 50 megabits per second symmetrical, usually when I measure it. The one in Kilmarnock parking lot, we had a lot of problems because it got hit. They say lightning doesn't hit twice. Well, it hit that pole twice. This is where the trolley goes through. But now it's up and running and working very well. The one at the Boys and Girls Club, actually that's an important one for them because they have a lot of people in their parking lot waiting for kids to get done or dropping kids off. And what I'm told is some of the high school students use it, your brothers, sisters, use it to do their homework at. So it's actually, we're encouraged by that one. We have one Caratoman Baptist Church, which is out 354. It's now working, and you heard problems of them working well. It's fall, the leaves have fallen, and all but one pole is not working at this point. The other 7 are, so that's the good news. The bad news is the one at Thomas Landing is not. It's just surrounded by trees. We're hoping eventually that will work because that's where we're putting in the dock. What is it, fishing kayak launch that you're expanding?
At Thomas Landing?
Yeah.
It's a fishing pier and replacement of the dock.
Of the dock, okay. But, it's a nice facility, and having access to internet at that point is always a good idea for emergencies, et cetera. Because there's no cell service. If you go out there with your Verizon, you're going to get 0 bars. So that would be an important thing. That's out in your district. So, and I think I hit on all points, so no pun intended. All the points in here. And any questions?
Did I hear you correctly and say that Breezeline would be finished by the end of the year?
Actually, it's into January.
January, okay.
Of 2023, yeah.
And all points really gonna get started in January?
Yeah, on their addition onto it's roughly 300 miles that needed to do, I don't know the exact number. Dominion's doing about 1/3 of them. So Dominion will be done.
Yeah, Dominion will be done, yeah.
So 1/3 of it's done. And then you got really 2/3 that All Points Broadband is going to do. And that's predominantly, most of that is on the 354 Peninsula.
Yeah, but they've said that they'll start in Q1, so, but they haven't told us any more than that, right?
Yeah, right, yeah, no, they keep it close to the vest. It's a private venture. That's the disappointing thing. but when you trade, paying only, what, $575, you sort of save versus, well, you would have had to come up with 30 million, but probably our piece would have been 10 million. It saves the taxpayers a lot of money,
Yeah.
so.
I know that ABB is putting up lines in Dungeons Thicket in that place.
I'd have to look at
I know
which,
we are.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
They may be doing that on their own, because they've done a
They're-
lot of
yeah,
that.
they are trying to obviously, usually the first man in wins, right? Or gets some X percent, higher percent. And they're going to try and expand, even over in Manassas.
Manassas.
I thought I'd get it this last time.
You can pronounce Canadian words, but you can't pronounce Manassas.
I can go A, but what they're doing, they put in, they understand they have to eventually go to fiber, breeze line. But they have a whole shed full of copper. And so they put in that area, hoping to get something quick up and to the residents. I don't know if they turned on any of those or not. Don, maybe you've heard, but I don't know.
I think they have. I
Okay.
think they have.
Okay. So, but, yeah, there's going to be pieces where they say, okay, here's a high density, let me try it. It's still the cherry picking method that the predecessor had always been doing.
Yeah, I think the short order will be that if you have Dominion, there will be all points broadband available to you at some point in the near future.
Right. Yeah, I think that's the main thing. And it's fiber. There really is a big difference between having a hybrid system and fiber. You look at the studies, I was relaying the story earlier. There's a new group, they're going to subatomic usage. I'm not going to go and try and explain it, but subatomic usage, and you need fiber to use it. And it essentially takes what you can do in 1 minute. It takes 1 minute for it to do what takes a full day, all of the network and traffic on the internet it can handle. So you're looking at a huge advance that's going to happen. Is it happening tomorrow? No. But is it happening 5, 10 years out? Yes. And just think about your cell phones. I remember my first PDA, I thought that was the greatest thing in the world. And as it evolved over business to smartphones, my smartphone's more powerful than the first few computers I bought. So,
Well, Gary, I'd just like to thank you for your service to the county and all that you've dedicated to this. It's been a great honor working with you, and I wish you the best.
okay, well, thank you. And good luck to everybody here, too.
Same here. Thank you, Gary.
And on behalf of Lancaster, I'd like to thank you for
I
that.
appreciate it.
In your service, you just volunteered your time selfishly, and you really wanted to do it.
Yeah, I was crazy enough.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gary.
Okay. Mr. Pittman?
Apologize for not having a slideshow tonight, so sorry about that, Don. Not a whole lot of news happened over the past 3 weeks. We've run into, some weather, and that's slowed us down a little bit, but not a lot. The new addition on the building is coming along nice. We'll hopefully have the roof on, completed in the next few weeks, and that will, take away some of these weather issues that we're having right now, and then take care of that. The heating system at the school, we just switched over to the heat at the middle school. And just in case, you guys are getting comments or anything from the community, I don't want you to feel like that's a new system that we're putting in. That's part of the old system. And we are having some difficulties with that. We're working through those issues right now. But it's not part of the new system that's going in, so just wanted to clear that up. Big thing is ready to move into the 2 extra wings in January after the winter break, and I think we're prepared to do that. I don't see any issues why that, it can't happen. And the last thing, Branch Builds has an annual meeting every year, and so there'll be no work going on at the school tomorrow. So they'll be off tomorrow.
Any questions, comments, gentlemen, of Mr. Pittman? Okay. I'd like to thank you for leading this. And keep
I'll
it-
have some slides for you next month.
All right. Okay, let's go to our public hearing. Mr. Gill?
Mr. Chairman, your first public hearing deals with a conveyance of a deed of dedication of perpetual open space to the Virginia Outdoors Foundation. The Triway Trail has been awarded a $135,000 grant from VOF to assist with the development of the first phase of the Triway Trail. The first phase is 1.7 miles that will stretch from Harris Road across Carter Financial Corporation property, then across the property that the county purchased for the new middle high school along adjacent to Old St. John's Road, then across more Carter property, part of the old King Carter Golf Course and the Hills Quarter subdivision, across Middlegate Road to the intersection of the Carter property with the new Tides property, which is the Golden Eagle property. So that 1.7 miles is the first phase that will be done. Really only two property owners there, Carter and the county. And VOF requires that in order to obtain their funding, grant funding, a deed of dedication of perpetual open space has to be recorded. So that's the purpose of this, and I'll ask the county attorney if he wants to chime in any further.
I think in previous board meetings, y'all have approved the project, the concept and the project itself. Under 15.2/1800, in order to convey an interest in real estate, the county has to have a public hearing. So as Don indicated, the Virginia Outdoors Foundation is requiring a deed of dedication. It will remain open to the public in perpetuity. But in order to do that deed, we had to have a public hearing and have board approval of the deed.
Okay, good. Any questions, gentlemen, before we open up the, okay, all right. Before I do that, get ready to open it up for public hearing here, public comments on this proposal here. And again, you have 3 minutes to speak. I will hold this up when you have 1 minute remaining. Okay. Public hearing is now open. Anyone wants to speak on this topic? Anyone online? Okay. Public hearing now closed.
Mr. Chairman, I move that this, to approve this conveyance of the deed for dedication of maturity open space land to Virginia Outdoor Foundation.
Okay, you heard the vote. Any questions? All right. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous vote. Okay. Consensus docket.
Mr. Chairman, I move for approval.
All right, you heard the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous vote. All right. And let's move on to consideration docket. Okay. Salaries and invoices, November 22nd. We're meeting early, so that won't happen. All right, Mr. Gill, award of bids to Thomas Landing, all right?
Yeah, just for clarification for those in the public, because the meetings in November and December are moved up, all of the salaries and invoices have not been completed for November, so that's why you'll approve those at your December 15th meeting, and subsequently you'll approve the December salaries and invoices at your January meeting. So just a little clarification. Consideration item number 2 deals with award of bid for the Thomas Landing Pier replacement and expansion. We went out to bid RFP 3 times for this, June, August, and October, and we finally got a bid. The bid was from Docks of the Bay. They gave a base bid proposal, which was basically a residential pier construction for replacement of the existing pier at Thomas Landing, plus a 40-foot L extension for a fishing pier, and to make the entire structure ADA compliant. That base bid was $72,380. They also gave some upgrade options to increase the longevity of the pier. And Bruce Julian, who is the chairman of our Public Access Committee, went through that and made some recommendations, and I concur with all of his proposals. And staff is recommending that you consider the fiberglass piling upgrade for $23,500 additional dollars, which would increase the life expectancy close to 50 years versus the 20 to 25. Also, replace galvanized bolts and screws with stainless steel for an additional $3,500. Again, probably a 50-year lifespan, and have PVC decking instead of the salt-treated, pressure-treated decking, which again increases the longevity to 50 years. That upgrade is at $21,500. So staff is recommending total upgrades of $48,500 for a total cost of $120,880.
Okay. Do you have any questions? Okay.
Don, how much did we have in the capital improvement budget for that? I couldn't remember.
That was a couple years ago. I want to say it was 75,000, but we put in the FY '23 capital improvement budget 500,000 for a broad category of public access sites.
Okay.
So I think we're okay under that.
I saw in there too that they had a engineering survey and design drawings in their cost. Is there any way we could use our groups that we have? Would that be cheaper? Just asking a question, I don't know. I saw that in there and wondered about that.
Yeah, I think Bay Design has estimated 12.5, so whether it's Docks of the Bay paying it
Okay.
and we reimbursing it, or the county paying it up front,
No,
I think it's gonna be the same cost, but, I mean, we can consider that, paying that instead of Docks of the Bay paying it, and we
Well,
reimburse
I
it.
just didn't know if it could be, if we processed it, if it would be any cheaper. But if it's no cheaper,
I
I
don't
don't see
believe it
any
will be.
difference. Okay.
Yeah.
And it can, I mean, that 50-year life seems really long to me. Is that something that's doable as far as that?
You know, I believe it is, and Bruce Julian is here, he's got a lot of experience in this area. I don't know if he can address that,
Okay.
the longevity of it.
We won't be around to prove
I
that.
would say we don't know for sure, because this stuff hasn't been around for 50 years, but
I won't be here to check it. He can tell me, but.
based on the quality of salt-treated,
Charlie will still be here to check. He'll be sitting right there.
salt-treated decking today, and you'd be replacing it in a year.
Yeah.
Put it on your agenda.
I can tell you, based on some experiences we've had with pressure-treated lumber failing, decking failing in 5 to 6 years, with the hybrid, the treatment that's being used, we've got pilings now, pressure-treated, that are failing under 20 years. Fiberglass pilings have been around a long time, more in commercial and even some of the governmental military things. These are like, fiberglass doesn't go away too fast. Same way with plastic, it's here forever. The galvanized we're getting today, you know where it's coming from, don't you? It's not the old hot dip stuff we used to have on the farm. It's coming from China. And so those upgrades, we can almost essentially double the lifespan. As far as your question, Craig, on engineering, engineering services from Bay Design, it's the same bid that they gave, what bucket we take it out of. But until Don, and we talked about the quality materials, until we decided on these upgrades, they couldn't go to final design. We still want to see the final design plans, particularly with the ADA compliance on this one. So this means tearing the old one out, putting the new ones in, and I think this is, from a lifespan standpoint, maybe we won't be here in 50 years, but it's certainly a value added for a public entity. Right now, we got a dangerous situation there, that thing's falling down. So we tried to get some help from Department of Wildlife Resources, because that's the way the original was built, 50/50. They have no money. So, any other questions?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Giese, your turn.
All right, I move that we award the bid for the Thomas Landing Pier replacement and expansion
All right,
In the amount of,
in the amount of $120,880. Thank you for keeping me on target.
all right. You've heard the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, unanimous vote. Okay. Mr. Gill, approval of engineering services.
Mr. Chairman, a couple months ago, the board entered into basic contracts with Bay Design for engineering services as needed, also architectural services as needed with Guernsey Tingle. And part of that basic contract says that for specific projects, they will come back with estimates for the work related to those specific projects. That is what is before you tonight. Bay Design has come back with estimates for the engineering work that they will be doing for the Carter Cove site, the Taylor Creek Park site, the Windmill Point Beach expansion, Fishing Pier project, and the Kilmarnock Convenience Center expansion. And those amounts, Carter Cove Engineering Services is at $13,300. Taylor Creek Park in the amount of $37,750. Windmill Point Beach Expansion Fishing Pier in an amount of $46,650. And the Kilmarnock Convenience Center expansion in the amount of $38,700. I didn't wait for Guernsey Tingle to give me their architectural estimates because the engineering work, most of the time, has to be done before the architectural work is done, and we need approval of these so that Bay Design can get this work on their schedule and get it done.
All right. Any questions, gentlemen, comments? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the engineering proposals for Taylor Creek, Windmill Point, and the Kilmarnock Convenience Center expansion
In the amount stated.
in the amount stated.
Okay, you heard the question, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That'd be Carter
Opposed?
Cove.
Carter's Cove.
Yes.
All opposed, nay.
You didn't say Carter's Cove, but I'm assuming you meant that
Yeah.
as part of your motion.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I missed that one, yes.
Yeah.
All the ones mentioned here.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Authorization to request the ARP Tourism Recovery Program funding, Mr. Gill.
Mr. Chairman, you know the county received a little over $2 million in American Rescue Plan Act funds over 2 years. There's also a pot of money, ARPA money, for tourism recovery. And $100,000 has been allocated for Lancaster County. Part of the requirement to tap into that funding is that you have to create a spending plan for that $100,000, and it has to be submitted by December 31st. So I enlisted the help of Susan Cockrell, who does a lot of work with River Realm, and also Lisa Hull, who does a lot of tourism work with the Northern Neck Tourism Commission, to help put together a spending plan so we could submit it by December 31st and obtain that $100,000 in funding. You'll see that they have put together 3 components to that spending plan, paid media in the amount of $25,000, a marketing part in the total amount of $10,000, and then what they call tourism product development, which is actually recovering some of the costs that you just approved for the engineering estimates in the prior consideration item. This tourism funding would recoup $65,000 of that funding. So I'm asking for you all to approve this spending plan and authorize me to request that tourism recovery funding of $100,000 by December 31st.
Excellent plan.
Okay, good. I entertain a motion.
So moved.
All right, you've heard the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous vote. Okay, good. All right, board reports, and under that, I'm gonna ask Mr. Bellows.
I will go last if there's no other
Okay.
board members.
All right. Any other board reports?
I had.
Okay.
Gentlemen, we just finished the VACO annual convention in Richmond, and one thing became, I think, relatively apparent. We already knew it, but across the Commonwealth had one of the same problem. That's housing. That was looked like a theme throughout the whole thing. Is not enough housing, affordable housing, workforce housing, whatever you want to call it. So we are sitting on 150 acres that the county owns off of Goodluck Road. What I'd like for you gentlemen to start thinking about seriously is that the county provide the water and sewer up to that property. That there's been a preliminary study, I call it preliminary, Mr. Gill, where they went out and estimated the cost to run it up. They did that when we bought it for the school system. So what I would like to see that we get a cost, put it in the capital improvement plan for the next budget cycle. And so that we do that to try to entice, give it as an incentive for a developer to come in there. And we partner with a developer to start a mixed use with commercial, mixed income development up there with that project, where we can start on the road to providing some housing that would be suitable for people that want to come in, doctors and, you know, people that are trying to recruit to this area that they can afford to buy, and then for our own workforce that we got here. So I would like for you all to start thinking about that this is what we need to do. We can go back and dig up some of that engineering that was done, and, you know, costs have gone up since then, Scott. That's probably been, what, 5 years ago?
I think it was in 2017 prior
Yeah,
to
so-
purchasing it in
So,
18.
you know, we know cost is going up, but we can kind of go back to that and see, okay, here's where we are, and get something in the capital improvement. And it's an incentive for, you know, to draw a developer to come in and say, hey, you know, I will take a look at this. And I know Mr. Gill is already working on, with Guernsey Ting on them providing a conceptual plan for that whole parcel out there. But I think we can be thinking about this at the same time.
Should we get that proposal updated from 2017 to see a more accurate number of what we're looking at?
Well, we gotta get it updated, no
Yeah.
question about that. I was just saying, we could go back and look at it, and you
I think
guys that wasn't on the board, you know, y'all give you an idea where we was at anyhow.
Yeah,
I think
I'd
that
like to
was
see it now.
never really an official proposal.
It wasn't.
It was
No.
just sort of a
Okay.
back of the envelope,
Yeah.
frankly
How
mechanical.
difficult would it be to get an updated proposal?
No, we can do that. The Timmons, from what I remember, and I wasn't
Timmons-
directly involved in it back
Yeah.
then, but the Timmons Group did
That's
some
right.
preliminary studies of what it would cost to bring water and sewer from the bottom of Norris's Hill up the hill to that site. So we can look at that, and like I said, you're under contract with Bay Design Group now for engineering services as needed, and, you know, they can give us an estimate for that, and
You know, that could be something we can look at in the next capital budget too, because that's another potential public access development site,
correct, yes.
which would need road access and public utilities as well, so that could be the precedence to bring it up to that site.
I just think that, you know, the five of us were treating this with some sense of urgency, because it is a problem. It's definitely a problem, so.
I can agree with that. I think we need to go ahead and start working on it, and looking at it and making plans, and it to move forward.
Seems like a logical place for housing as far
Yeah.
as that, to me, thinking about
I
its
mean,
location.
We own it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that could be a very good incentive for a developer to come in here and to do some things there at a lower cost. Okay. Anyone else? Any other board reports?
Well, I'm not, are these reports, or are we just?
Just speak
Okay.
about it.
I don't really have a report, but I would like to say that last week I met with a doctor in the area, and she shared these concerns. She shared the concern that one of our practices cannot find a doctor that will come here. And one big issue was housing. We don't have enough housing here. The other issue was
At the right price.
at the right price. And the other issue was the salary. Doctors work hard, they study hard, and they deserve to make
Spend a lot
money,
of
but we're having trouble bringing doctors here, and it's something that I think this board needs to start thinking about as well, is what can we do as a board to entice much-needed professionals to come to our area? And it's something we have to take serious. And as you said, Bill, we need to treat this with the utmost of urgency. The other thing I'd like to say is I attended my first VACO meeting, and I learned a lot from that. It was very interesting. One thing I did learn is that this county and our supervisors are way ahead of other counties when it comes to how we handle alternative energy, specifically solar panels. We have worked hard on it, and it certainly shows, because as I was listening, we are already doing many of those things, and they're just starting to grab hold of it. So very, very proud of the board. And Jason, congratulations to you.
Yeah.
Jason is the president of VACO, And we have not had a president from the Northern Neck since 1980.
Yeah.
And we have never had one from Lancaster County, so congratulations, Jason.
Thank you.
Any other board reports or comments?
I just have one comment. I'm going to ask the board to go into a closed session to discuss personnel in relations to the inspection needs going on down at Whitestone.
Okay. All right, you've heard the proposed motion here?
We'll do the county administrator's
Oh,
report.
I'm sorry.
And then I'll go
Jump
in.
in, that's right. All right, thank you.
I'm gonna keep, I'll keep it real brief this month. Your December meeting is moved up because of the Christmas holidays. It'll be on December 15th. Also because there is no turnover on the board this year. Historically, the board also does its organizational meeting at that December meeting. So that's the plan unless you all object to that. You can do the organizational meeting on December 15th.
Why do I have planning commission? Didn't we say we wasn't gonna do a planning commission?
Planning Commission does not meet
Yeah,
in
For some
December.
reason I had that
Yeah.
December 19th for some reason.
No, they would have met December 8th.
Yeah.
Had they, it's January 19th that they meet.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, yeah,
Because they're always off on December, yeah.
yeah. So that's all I really have tonight.
Okay, all right. County administrator, okay.
Okay. I move that the Board of Supervisors enter into a closed meeting for discussion of personnel per section 2.2, 3711A1 Code of Virginia, and 2, legal matters per section 2.2, 3711A8 of the Code of Virginia as amended.
All right, you've heard the motion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, we're now in closed session. Lancaster County Board of Supervisors adopt the following certification resolution. Whereas the Lancaster County Board of Supervisors convened on a special call closed meeting on November 17, 2022, pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote on the motion to close the meeting to discuss personnel and legal matters in accordance with section paragraph 2.2-3711.a.1 and 2.2-3711.a.8 of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act. And whereas section paragraph 2.2-3712D of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the Board of Supervisors that such closed meetings were conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Lancaster County Board of Supervisors hereby certifies that, to the best of each member's knowledge, number one, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements under the Virginia Freedom of Information Act are heard, discussed, or considered in the closed meeting to which this certification applies. And two, only such public business matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed meeting was convened were heard, discussed, or considered in the meeting to which this certification applies. Before a vote is taken on this resolution, is there any member who believes that there was a departure from the requirements of number 1 and number 2 above? If so, identify yourself and state the substance of the matter and why, in your judgment, it was a departure. Hearing no statement, I call the question. Mr. Bellows?
I certify.
Mr. Lee?
I certify.
Mr. Geezy?
I certify.
Mr. Smith?
I certify.
And I, Palin, certify. The certification resolution is adopted.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the Lancaster County Board authorize the town of Whitestone to hire a third-party inspector, certified inspector, to conduct the remaining inspections that they will be needed to conduct the public sewer project, and to reimburse the town for any reasonable expenses using our ARPA funds.
Okay, you've heard the motion. Before we vote, are there any questions or comments? All right, if not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous vote, motion passed. Okay. Gentlemen, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion adjourned. We're adjourned.
Close the second.